Good evening, everybody. It's nice to be back this evening. I fully intend this to be my last video for a while. I only intended to do one, and I've had requests to do one or two others, so I've done them. But to be honest, unless there's and there often is future developments in the case, I've really said all I wanted to say, but I did want to say these final few things. The first thing I really wanted to say was to the guilters out there. I fully understand that if Making a Murderer was focused on people here in Scottish Borders, in Galashiels, we would feel the same disappointment that our town was being tainted by the acts of just a couple of individuals within the sheriff department. It's not nice when your town or your county is being sort of criticised worldwide, and unfortunately that's the nature of the beast. Once MTSO decided to go down the route that they did, and sadly there's only going to be one outcome on this, and that to all the guilters that want to send profanities and abuse towards people, I think Kathleen Zellner is basically going to give you a very obscene fingered salute. She's not interested in your feelings, which, you know, it's maybe not you that's the problem. It's as I say, it's your sheriff department. But until you realise the dire situation that you've been put in by just one or two individuals there, obviously probably orders from above, but you know, don't take it out on us. We haven't insulted the memory of Teresa Holbach by seeking for the truth. We are what we say we are. We're truthers because we feel that the truth is important. So there's no need to get offensive and abusive and to use obscenities towards us. You know, we're a very peaceful people. We, as I say, we simply want the truth. Anyway, keep her moving. A wee while back, I actually left the Facebook support group for I think it was about 2 or 3 hours, and I'll cut a long story short. It was a debate about some aspect of the case. I think it was to do with different photographs and the way that the RAV4 looked different colours, and for somebody for some of us that have followed this case so long, we're well aware of the fact that there is different pictures of the RAV4 that present it in a different light, and at times you don't know whether it's green or whether it's blue. It's just one of those things, different photographs under different conditions, and there's been some excellent videos done about it. I remember one particular by a gentleman by the name of goes by the name of Irvin Manick. I'm sure most of you have seen that particular video. That was very, very, very good. It really highlighted how the different light, you know, it can make such a huge difference. Anyway, basically the problem was that I was maybe a bit over exuberant in my sort of dismissing of the fact that somebody thought they'd got onto something, that the different colours of the cars and what what they actually said that kind of upset me, which maybe it shouldn't, but at the time it did upset me, was they said, "Are you K.Kratz in disguise?" Now, in actual fact, looking back on it in hindsight, I suppose I would have to admit that K.Kratz could quite easily finish second behind me in a K.Kratz lookalike competition. But at the time, I took exception to that, and the language at the time was a bit too much. I took variance at what was being said, and if you take variance at something, then you're probably best just to sort of move on, which I did, safe in the knowledge that I'd already friended most of the main contributors to do with the Facebook page, and said, look, I'll just move on because I don't want to cause any problem here. But of course, basically the headmistress sent a message, which I didn't reply to straight away because I was working. To which she sent another message, and it was, "Listen, you, don't ignore me." So I knew I had to get back in touch, which I did. I phoned, and she said, "That's fine. I've already added you back into the group anyway." So I was severely reprimanded from 4,000 miles away. So just watch your step, everybody else. She doesn't mess about. Now. One of the things that, let's put it this way, I could be immensely rich if everybody that asked me about my surname gave me 5p, because a lot of people get me confused with Peter Capaldi. I often get called Peter because of the famous actor. Am I related? As far as I know, definitely yes. All of the Capaldis come from the same part of Italy, which is Monte Cassino. It's between Rome and Naples. And most of the, well, all the Capaldis that stay in the UK were originally originated from our sort of great-grandfathers travelling across, aiming for America around about 1910, 1920. They headed off for America to seek their fortune, and quite a lot of them got as far as the UK because that's where the ships went, and that's where they stayed. My family ended up in just south of Birmingham, Gloucester, Bristol area, but there was others that ended up in Glasgow, which is where the famous actor, the famous, I think, Doctor Who number 13, Peter Capaldi, comes from. Anyway, the point is that if I do ever get to meet the famous Doctor Who, I would take a trip in his TARDIS. I would go forward a few years to when Stephen and Brendan are exonerated, and it's proven the framing by MTSO, and also it's proven the every single little violation, every single act against humanity that K.Kratz, it's difficult to say his name, but you know who I mean, the most vile creature of them all. He's going to be so discovered, embarrassed, and forsaken that he's going to take the easy option out. He's going to descend into hell, obviously, and he's going to be met by Satan, who gives him a choice of 3 rooms in which to spend the rest of eternity. He opens the first door. It's a room full of people in extreme pain. They're stood on their heads in a room as much and gnashing of teeth and wailing because they're in extreme pain. They're all stood on their heads on a wooden floor, just a bare wooden floor. It's a horrific sight, so K.Kratz immediately says, "Oh no, no, I don't want that, thank you." Opens the second door, and it's even worse. It's people all in their heads, and the floor is concrete, and it really is a horrific sight. So he says, "Oh no, 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 no." So Lucifer says, "Well, here you go. Here's the third option." Opens the door, and the smell immediately hits the disgraced former district attorney. People are stood knee deep in manure, but they're stood around, they're drinking coffee, they're chatting, some of them are smoking, and the most obscene, wretched pervert in history says to Satan, I'll take my chances in this one." So he goes in, he waddles across to a space. He's just about to start making conversation. It's difficult because of the stench. And he's just about to speak to somebody next to him, and the door opens, and a big booming voice says, "Right, you lot, coffee break over. Get back on your heads."